maybe 3 or 4 kind of weird experiences, but other
Man,
than that, it's
any
been
of
pretty
those that are
positive.
good enough for the show here?
Hmm. I
Any like
explained
real
one of
winners? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I've made it. I think I covered this on one of the videos. How there was a woman who she accused me of stealing something from her. Stealing something out of her house or whatever. I was on a service call. I think it was a bad thermostat or something like this. And from the beginning, I caught the bad vibe from her. Like she was just following me around the house. Like every time I would walk up the stairs, she'd like be at the bottom of the stairs asking, "Hey, do you need anything up there?" Because the attic was up on the second floor, so I need to go access the attic to make sure, check what I'm looking for, check the zone board and things like that. So then come to find out, I left the place. I swapped out the thermostat 2 days later. My supervisor calls me like basically letting me know she accused me of stealing something, and he knew I didn't steal anything, but so he had my back from the off the gate. So long story short, she supposedly found the envelope or whatever that was missing, so envelope full of money or something like that. She was saying at first I thought she was trying to pull a scam or something, like trying to basically lie and be reimbursed off of a lie, but I guess she must have really thought it was something missing. So it was a pretty weird one.
That's never happened to me. I've heard people saying that. There's some people are just kind of paranoid. Like anytime
Yeah,
someone's in their house, it's like there's an evil person that's going to take me or just not steal something necessarily, but overcharge me because I
yeah.
don't know
Now
what they're
that's
doing.
well, yeah, that's realistic. That part of it. I mean, a lot of time because I mean, you know, like I say, man, I've been on both sides of the fence. Seeing how I started in this field so late in my life. A lot of guys that I know that they started kind of, they might be like a second generation, or they like yourself, for instance. You've been in this since what, your teenage years, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So but for myself, I've dealt with you know s- just being that customer, that ignorant customer that doesn't really know anything, dealing with contractors that, yeah, they might be taking advantage of you. You really can't, who's to say? But sometimes it feels that way. So that's why I do empathize a lot more with the customers a lot of times, because especially even after getting in the field, you think I'd be empathizing more with being a tech, but after going behind a lot of these companies, some of these bigger national, not national, but local companies and stuff, that they'll I don't know how they're training their guys. I'm not sure what's going on, but I mean, I've been behind calls where sometimes people want a second opinion, and they had one of these bigger companies out from around here, and he said system was perfectly fine. He called the guys out for maintenance. System was running fine before the maintenance. Then by the time the maintenance was done, oh, 2-year-old system. You need a whole new system. Trying to sell him a system, said his compressor was shot. I get out there, you unplug the compressor, checked everything was running perfect. So
Like the little plug-in that goes onto the compressor
yeah,
itself.
yeah, absolutely. Unplugged
What the
it
world?
completely. No
You know,
joke.
you think this stuff was crazy, like this would never happen,
You
like
would
people are
think.
better than this. But yeah, you're right. I've heard stories, and a friend of mine said that one of the companies he used to work with had told their guys to pull the W wire off of a terminal board
Mm,
so the heat would never fire up in the wintertime for those that were using the gas furnace. And
sheesh.
he, of course, he left the company because he said this is unbelievable. You can't do stuff like this. But it was something that they actually practiced, and this was a whole group of guys that were just accepting of it, except for my friend, of course. And it's
Yeah,
it's hard to believe.
I know they're training them foul for a lot of these companies. There was one I saw. I was at I was doing one of those. It was a maintenance. No, it was a Goodman recall or something like that. One of those Goodman
Hey, that's
recalls.
totally believable. Yeah.
Have you heard about the recall?
I've heard about Goodman. I'm sorry. I just gotta say something bad. I just kid around with Goodman. They're the same as all
No,
the
I
other
know.
ones.
I forgot I triggered you with that one. But
That's funny. Triggered, man. That's a
yeah,
word I don't hear too much. Yeah, I was triggered by that. You did trigger me.
but yeah. So basically, he had more. It was a company, a bigger company. He had them out to do a maintenance for him, and they were like, one of the guys were out there, and he said basically they said he had the reason why he was having the issue he was having. It was due to the Goodman issue with whatever they had going on. But the guy tried to sell him like $5,000 worth of ductwork, and then he was like, oh, as well, because I asked him to see the ticket, just to go over it, see what it was, see what type of measurements the guy took, if he took static pressures and all these things. And he was like, well, another thing we noticed as well, because he was doing the furnace check, your inducer motor is hot. So he suggested the customer replace the inducer motor, the induced draft motor, because it was hot. Yeah.
There's a lot of hot air going through that thing. That's nuts, man. Because I don't know if I believe that some people that are new or not trained would believe some of the stuff. It's like, all right, this thing's too hot, right? This thing's too hot. We should probably replace this just to be safe, because they're paranoid, and that's incompetence, I guess. But I think more than often than not, if someone says the inducer motor is too hot, knowing what it does for a living,
exactly,
that's kind of nuts. And there is guys in the chat here that are saying that Renee Cuevas says it's so normal in Miami to disconnect the W wire. I don't know if that means that because it's Miami and the heat's never going to come on anyway, or that it's some sort of negative thing. Summertime, and I don't know why.